Welcome to Carnival. In this episode of Daily Dose, we'll be starting a HackerRank question. So, the name of the question is Ransom Note. So, we have a kidnapper named Harold, and this kidnapper wants to write a ransom note in which he describes how much money he wants and stuff. Okay, so what we have to do is, he does not want to write things down in a pen and paper old-fashioned way because people will be able to, judge who he are and trace him back using his handwriting. So what he thinks is he has magazines lying around. Hence, what he figures out is he'll cut words out of these magazines and then use those words to write his ransom note. This is the clever idea that he comes up with. So what we have to do here is we have to use the words like this in the magazine, and we will also be given the words that we are going to use in the ransom note. We need to find whether it is possible to write the ransom note using the words in the magazine. So that is our job. So in this case, we have give me $1,000 today night as the words in the magazine, and the words in the note, ransom note of course, is give $1,000 today. Okay. So of course, as you can see here, we will be able to complete the ransom note using the words in the magazine. So in this case, we would have to print yes. But if it is not possible, in that case, we would have to print no. Okay. So this is our program. We could even have repetition of these words, and we should be able to find a logic that applies even if we have a repetition. So we'll use the Hashmap data structure to solve this question. What we'll be doing is we'll be adding all those words that are present in the magazine to this Hashmap, and then traversing this note, checking whether each of the words that are present inside this note is present in the Hashmap. If it is present for all these words, we'll print yes, else we'll print no. That is the logic that we're going to use to solve this problem. Now let's get into HackerRank and code this program. And the link to this question will also be given in the description below. So after watching this video, you can surely go and try this out yourself. Now let's move on to the question. So here is the HackerRank question for you. And we need to complete this function, check magazine. So it is a void function. As I said, we have to print the values yes or no, and then we are given the words in the magazine as a vector and the words in the note as another vector. So using these two vectors, we need to complete this program. So here we have the function. Now let's complete this function and then copy this code back to HackerRank. So the first thing that we are going to do is create that hash map, of course. So unordered map, and it is gonna store a string as well as an integer. So string as the key and integer as the value. And the name of the hash map, let us say, is map itself. So we have an unordered map or hash map which stores a key as a string and the value as an integer. So the next thing that we should do is, as I said earlier, we have to traverse this vector magazine and then get all those strings or words in that vector and add it to this hash map. So for int I is equal to 0, I is less than magazine.size of, since we are traversing this vector magazine. So after the implementation of this for loop, what do we need to place inside this for loop? Obviously, we need to add all those words into the hash map. So map of magazine of I plus plus. So this would increment the count of words in the hash map. So if the word, let us say 2, is present twice, the count or the value that will be stored in the hash map is 2, and the key would be the string 2. In this case, each and every word in this vector magazine will be stored inside the hash map. So the next job that we need to do is we need to traverse this vector note. So for that, we'll just copy paste this for loop and change this magazine to note. And that's it. That's our for loop condition. Now let's complete the code that is present inside this for loop. What do we need to do? We need to check whether the word that we are pointing to in this vector is present inside the hash map. If it is not present, it means we cannot form this ransom note using the words in the magazine. If it is present for all these words, in that case, it would mean we can make this ransom note using the words in the magazine. Okay. So if the map of note of I. So note of I is less than 1 or equal to 0. In that case, what do I mean by this less than 1 or equal to 0 is the count of that word that is present inside the hash map is 0 or less than 1. In that case, it would mean the word is not present in the hash map, and as I said earlier, in that case we would have to print no. And so if we have printed no, it means we cannot make the ransom note using the words in the magazine, and hence we can just return and not do the other operations that are present after this operation. Okay, since it is just waste of time, either way we are going to return no, right? So it is just useless to check the other words, and hence we are just having this return statement. Since it is a void function, we are not returning anything, we are just having the return statement. Okay, else, that means if this condition is false, it means we have the words. So in that case, we would have to decrement the value of this note of I. And why do we do that? This is done because of the repetition part that we talked about earlier. So if we have the same word repeated more number of times, in that case we should have a count of how many times it is being repeated, and we should have a count of how many times you have already used that word in the ransom note, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is, let us say we have the word code.io in the magazine just once, but we have the word code.io in the note twice. If we didn't decrement the value of code.io, the word in the note or the hash map that we just traversed, in the second time when we encounter the word code.io in the ransom note, we would say that we have the word in the hash map and we'll use it. But as we saw, the word code.io is just there once in the magazine. So when we cut that word and use it in the ransom note, it will be there only once, right? We don't have code.io twice, and hence we will not be able to do. That is the logical explanation to this part that we are doing. Okay, and hence we need to subtract or decrement the value after we have checked whether it is there or not, after we have used it. That is what I mean. So if we have used the word code.io already in the magazine, we'll decrement the value of its count by 1. Okay, so this is the for loop. I hope I'm making sense here. So after this for loop ends, we would have a cout statement giving yes, because if the word no is not printed at all, only then it will come out of this for loop. If it is printed, it would have this return statement which would go out of this function itself. So if it is coming outside this for loop, it means it has checked every word in this ransom note vector, and for every word, the word is present in the hash map, and hence this ransom note can be made from that magazine, and in that case we are printing the value yes. So this is our program. Now let's copy this code and let's move on to HackerRank, paste this and verify our output. So we have got the output as congratulations, and that is what we need. Now let's move on to the try-out session. As you can see, the question here is how. What I'm trying to say is, if we didn't use a hash map in order to solve this question, we would probably use an iterative approach. For that iterative approach, what would be the time complexity that we would need? Let me know your answers in the comment section below. If you love this video, please drop a like and comment down below if you have any questions, and please don't forget to click the subscribe button. We'll see you in the next episode of Daily Dose. Until then, bye bye.